Thank you very much for joining us on the program. We now move on to our next story. Gaza's Civil Defense Agency has said that 30 people have been killed by Israeli fire in the Palestinian territory, including 11 people who were seeking aid in the region. This attack comes after Israeli tanks fired into a crowd trying to get aid from trucks in Gaza on Tuesday, killing at least 59 people as per reports. This is one of the bloodiest incidents yet in mounting violence as desperate residents struggle for food. A video shared on social media showed around a dozen mangled bodies lying in the street in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. The Israeli military, at war with Hamas-led Palestinian terrorists in Gaza since October 2023, acknowledged firing in the area and said it was looking into the incident. In early March, Israel imposed a total aid blockade on Gaza amid deadlock in truce negotiations, only partially easing restrictions in late May. Since then, chaotic scenes and a string of deadly shootings have occurred near areas where Palestinians have gathered to receive aid. We're now joined by our guest, Ali M. Bushback. He is a Middle East researcher located in Cairo. Ali, thank you very much for joining us. We have these reports are repeated. We've seen similar incidences of this as the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation was established in the region. How do you distinguish between civilians and Hamas members in such a densely populated area when Hamas is using these civilian facilities and civilian infrastructure? And how would you analyse the IDF's treatment of that situation?
Thank you, Thomas, for having me again. And in fact, the situation in Gaza is totally dire. We mentioned that in every day and in every discussion about the situation in Gaza. I guess the justification of IDF, it's just only a part of the propaganda, as I am from Palestine, and I confirm that Hamas is not using the people who's seeking or who's pursuing for the humanitarian aid. What Israel is doing just only justify its crime toward the people and bird people who's unarmed and killing the number of people. By the way, since the 26th of May, around 400 Palestinians who's pursuing for the humanitarian aid and gathering a humanitarian aid got killed by Israelis troops and by Israelis fire. So I guess, and also the day before yesterday, as I mentioned here in your platform or your television, I asked some people who was participating or who joined the crowd to gather or to take some humanitarian aid. He confirmed that all of the people, all the crowd, they were unarmed and totally civilians. So we are here in front of atmosphere of Israelis targeting everyone, every civilians who belongs to Hamas or who doesn't belongs to Hamas. So the things is we are in the position, it's completely violating the humanitarian rights and human rights, and it's considered as a war crime. So people who's starving, gathering to take a food, there is no doubt they will create some chaos, and there is no doubt no one can rule them. So the things is Israel finding any silly, I'm sorry for using this term, silly justification to kill as much as of the civilians. Okay. And most of the people who's gathering, they are young and the children. Definitely women, they will not gather to find the food. And this is starving people. They will look for any opportunity to take a food and to collect a sack of flour. Especially we know that the Palestinian in Gaza, there is a lake and they are living in a crisis of a flour. They can't eat the bread for more than 2 months. So the things is, in my opinion, Israeli purposely, deliberate targeting the civilians, and I can't find any justification for this. Please.
I just want to just make a statement that the numbers that do come out of Gaza are from the Hamas run health ministry, but also there is medics on the ground where some of those figures come from as well. Ali, it is reported and has been confirmed that Hamas does use tactics where they do use civilian infrastructure to hide their military activities. Can you explain the role of Hamas in prolonging this conflict and making and the impact that it's having on the Palestinian people who aren't involved in that organization?
Thomas, it's Hamas totally in Gaza diminished. And there is no exist for Hamas on the ground. Maybe they are in the tunnel and under the ground, maybe. But I asked many Palestinians from north to south about Hamas rules. They no exist for Hamas on the ground. Despite that, I mentioned that during the gathering to take the humanitarian aid, there is a chaos, there is a thieves, there is some people killing each other to take a sack of flour, to take the food, and to take the essential items to survive. That's mean there is no exist to Hamas on the ground. And also, maybe they have a limitation of active, but I guess, and I can confirm you, Thomas, there is no Hamas completely devastated by this war, and they have a limited of supporter. They have a limited of their member, and especially after the resuming the war in 18th of March. So the thing is, Hamas has a no exist. I confirm it to you what Israel is saying, and it's a completely a propaganda to find any justification to target the people, especially more than 50,000 of casualties. They are women, children, and civilians. So I guess we shouldn't adhere to that. We should be fully independent. I can't take the numbers of the casualties from Hamas ministry or Hamas running Ministry of Health.
Yes.
I can't take. I ask the people who's on the ground. I ask journalists, independent journalists, to take from them the numbers and to take from them the casualties number. All of them confirm Hamas no exist. And also Israel using the multiple or massive.
Yes, Ali. This conflict is divisive. It's extremely hard, muddy to wade around the amount of information that comes around regarding this conflict. Critics would say that some say that Palestinian groups intentionally stage aid lines near these conflict zones for propaganda purposes. What is your response to that?
I don't know, but as I mentioned that I asked several of people on the ground, they confirmed that. So the thing is, we have to, and there is a good news, by the way, that Bashara Bahbah, the Palestinian American, he said there is a progress on the negotiation between Hamas and Israel, between Hamas and Israel, as well as the mediator, Egypt and Qatar. I hope as soon as possible we'll hear a good news. I guess we should be closure this chapter of who's killing whom, and we should save the what is remain from the people, what is remain of a humanitarian value. I guess we should focus on the people's value, especially people in Gaza. You can't imagine they are starving from suffering from the starvation, so they can't do anything. But I confirm you, Hamas and militant group, they are no existence on the ground. Maybe they have some existence under the ground. I confirm you. I asked several of people, and as you know that we should be more independent to describe the situation in Gaza. We shouldn't take a part of this and that. And it's a painful, the casualties from both of sides, Palestinian and Israel. We should pray for the peace, and we should stop a mutual accusation between Hamas and Israel. And I guess Hamas now it's ready to do anything after the target of Iran, and this is the multiple change in the area and the region, especially. Nowadays, Hamas got hard listen, and Hamas, I guess, has a no issue with demilitarized its military group. This is in my opinion.
Ali Emma Bushback, I'm really sorry we've run out of time, but we have some breaking news coming in. Powerful blasts have rocked East Tehran this afternoon as the Iran-Israel war entered its 6th day. 5 plumes of smoke were seen rising over the Iranian capital amid the ongoing strikes. Meanwhile, Israel has announced a partial return to normalcy. Defense Minister Israel Katz says domestic restrictions will be erased and the economy reopened, even as military operations against Iran continue. We will continue to bring you all updates in regards to the fresh conflict in the Middle East. We now move on